Hi RAs and GAs, this is Miss Mallory and I have Riley here with me. She's going to help me with our devotion today. I am doing the story about Peter walking on water, and I have a little activity that you guys can do at home. All you need is a bowl with some water, some paper clips, and any kind of soap that you guys would like to use. So I hope you guys are all good, and I miss seeing you guys, and I hopefully will be back to normal soon. So I'm going to read you the story of Peter. It's been a very long day. Jesus and his disciples have been teaching about God and performing miracles. Many people followed them, and Jesus spent the rest of the day teaching and feeding 5,000 people. When the day was over and the crowds were leaving, Jesus told the disciples to go find their boat and go back to the other side of the lake. When everyone left, Jesus went up to the mountainside by himself to pray. You see, Jesus needs to pray too. He had a long, tiring day. Performing miracles was very tiring. He knew he had to be close to his heavenly Father so he could have strength to go on each day and resist all temptations that had came his way. When Jesus had finished praying, it was very early in the morning, probably 3 or 4 a.m. He came to the shore where the disciples had left some time earlier. He could see the boat, but it was quite far away. The wind had taken them faster across the lake than usual. Jesus knew he had to get to the other side of the lake to join the disciples. I'm sure he could have swarmed and flew and jumped across the lake. This is Jesus we're talking about. He could have done anything he wanted. But he decided that he could teach the disciples something, so he started to walk on the water towards their boat. I'm not sure if you've ever tried walking on water, but it's impossible. Keep in mind the water was very deep, and I bet some of the fish even noticed Jesus and stopped to watch the miracle. So Jesus walked, and finally was close enough to the disciples that he could see each of them on the boat. All of a sudden, one of the disciples said, "What is that?" He pointed out into the water, and all the disciples turned to see what was out there. "I think it's a ghost. What else could it be?" The few disciples said, terrified. They all came to the side of the boat to see strange things in the lake, and the boat suddenly got tipsy. From some of the disciples fell back on the boat to steady to keep it from completely tipping over. Jesus could see and hear the confusion. He shook his head and called out, "It's all right. I am here. Do not be afraid." The disciples looked at each other and felt silly. They had thought their teacher was a ghost. Then Peter replied, "Lord, if it is really you, tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," Jesus said, with his hand reaching out to him. The disciples watched as Peter carefully got out of the boat and began to walk on the water towards Jesus. Peter watched Jesus at first and started noticing the wind and the waves and the water, and he looked around with worry. As soon as Peter started to get scared, he started to sink, and he cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus reached his hand out and caught him before he was totally covered with water. "You have little trust, Peter," he said. "Why do you doubt me?" Peter walked to the boat with Jesus by his side and wondered to himself why he got so afraid. He knew that Jesus could do anything, and it seemed that as he looked and took his eyes off of Jesus, he started to think about other things. That is when he began to sink. As soon as Jesus got into the boat and stopped, the water was calm. Everyone on the boat worshiped Jesus, saying, "Truly, you are God's Son." When they crossed the lake,